Good morning, everybody. I've got an amazing message today to give you, and so I'm excited about it because we're going to talk about the value of things, and we're going to talk about what is really valuable, what's not really valuable, because we're living in the matrix, right? And you can be fooled, and you can also decide. Isn't that interesting? So our story today is going to be a story that some people might know because it is a true one. And it's a very interesting one too. We're going to have a story today about a bucket. And this bucket has changed the world. But when it first was introduced, it was a person that had come up with what was in the bucket, and he was trying to sell it to somebody, and that person then had to perceive what they felt the value of what was in the bucket, right? And so as they evaluated what was this person had come up with and put in a bucket, and if it was very valuable. Now the person selling the stuff that was in the bucket was saying, this is going to change the world, this is going to be amazing, it's going to be a household name. Change lives. And so the person evaluating what was in the bucket, his perception was determining the value for him. Does that make sense? He could go, oh yeah, scam. Or I don't even want to know what that is in the bucket. Right? He could have denied himself the opportunity entirely by what was going on right here. He could have decided it had no value. Now, that wasn't what actually happened, or the story probably would have never been told. The beautiful stories don't come from the negative. So he didn't make that choice, did he? No, he didn't. What he did was he saw the value, not of the bucket, but what was in it. And not really what was in it, but what he could do with it. So was the value what was in the bucket, or was the value in what he could do with it? And so you, in your life, are presented with buckets all the time. There are opportunities, there are situations, and you've got to determine yes or no. And I'm not trying to tell you every bucket's full of good stuff, but I'm going to tell you that this is where the real value will be or not be. And so ultimately, this is where your value will be or not be. So let's continue with our story. So the person saw the value in the bucket, and he bought the bucket. And I believe that the price, and I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure he paid $500 for what was in the bucket, the formula in the bucket. I'm pretty sure it was $500. The amount of money is not important. But anyway, that formula ended up being something that is now distributed all over the world. And the success of that formula, was it what was in the bucket? Sure, that played a role. But what was really the formula was what was in the mind of the person who saw the value in the bucket and could add what they had between their own two ears, to the value of what was in that bucket to bring it to the world. And so what was that amazing thing in the bucket? Coca-Cola. It was the formula for Coca-Cola. So think of all the buckets that come along your way and realize that your perception of them may actually determine the value of them in your life. You may have a beautiful, beautiful opportunity in a bucket, and it might look like brown sludge. But what you do with it here will determine whether it's brown sludge or gold in your life. And that bucket can be a person, it could be just any opportunity, it could be just a moment. But what you do with those things as they come into your life, the way you perceive them as being a gift or a detriment or valuable or not, will determine if they are for you. And so I'm not saying that you say yes to every bucket, but I'm saying try to look at the buckets in a little better light, because they're all filled with something. The question is, what will you add? You all have a beautiful day, and be something beautiful in the world by choice. Just decide to be. And even if you were a mean person yesterday, that doesn't mean that you have to stay that way, does it? If you were a judgmental person, if you were one of those people who were in the rumor mills and all that kind of stuff, there's going to be a challenge for you, because you've got to change your circle if you're going to, change your energy and your habits, right? Because you can't be a non-rumor person if you're hanging out in the rumor mill. You're going to be impacted by that. So as you start to think of the kind of person that you want to be, make sure that you're choosing the kind of people that you want to be around. One of the most important lessons that we can learn. And as you do so, don't treat the other people in the rumor mill badly, because they were where you were yesterday. So don't give them judgment and disdain. Give them the same love, kindness, caring, value, and respect that I'm giving you right now. And you be a lighthouse. And you lead the way out of that rumor mill room for them too. Because everybody's going to be happier when you do. So again, be a gift to the world.